What is happening, guys? Hey,
Hello.
this beautiful market that we're in. The sun is coming out, and we're gonna have a great long day, Victoria Day weekend. And usually Victoria Day weekends are cold. Okay, I remember
Yeah,
high
you're right.
school days. You do the camping thing, and it's just a muddy camping, ugly things with your buddies and all that kind of stuff. And but anyway, but all
But Rob, I got to interrupt. Before we start, big congrats. Top 100 numbers came out. Number 3 in Canada, number 3 in the world.
Woo!
Pretty
I thought
amazing.
number two. No, it's number two, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't know. I just got him now.
Was it? Did I get
Oh,
it
no,
wrong?
maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know who's the top three. I got robbed by Papasek there from Mississauga. He came out of nowhere as number one.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? I tell you just don't know. Like some of these guys did a ton of pre-sales, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, big
They all
time, big
closed.
time. He came out.
Yeah.
He came out like I know he does a lot of high end in Mississauga, and good for him.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. I'm really happy for him. And I just go no. It's okay. It's
I know.
okay.
Well, that's
Okay.
They Papasex do a lot of high end. There's no question. Yeah.
Oh, big time, big time.
Good job, Rob.
I
Congratulations.
appreciate it. I appreciate
That was
it.
awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, just I mean, we're lucky, especially this year, because it's been a roller coaster year. Like a lot of it's been different, but I at least I'm hovering at the same position in the last probably year within 2 or 3 positions. So that means, and I saw some other top contenders there dropped, but I still held tight where I am. So
no, you're consistent.
I feel blessed. Feel blessed.
And you moved up in the region too, Rob. You're like number 2 in the region.
Okay.
To the end of April. So and our friend that we know at RLP, I'm not RLP at Remax, and I won't mention names, but I'm significantly lower, like dropped.
I don't understand why. And you know what?
You're consistent. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been trying, man. I've been trying. It's freaking, man. It's a battle out there right now trying to figure things out. And I mean, I feel lucky, and I feel like a little bit has to do, just strategically, and we got a great team. That's a lot of that has to do. But what I've been finding that the buyers and sellers, there's like a lot of they're not scared, but they're worried. I mean, the sellers are worried, the ones that have to sell, because they're chasing the market down, and the buyers are kind of sitting on the sidelines. They're taking their time. 2 things I want to talk about now, and one strategic thing I want to talk about is that one of our agents loved this one house that they were putting an offer in. And I suggested to her that go in and register an offer right away. You'll scare everybody else off because nobody wants to compete. That's what I said to her. And I said, and then don't go in over asking, go in at full price or less. And then you'll find you'll get the house. So she did right away, register the offer, I think 2 days before the offer time. No other offer at the time. And she got the place. So that's number one. Number one strategy I think to do now, if you're representing a buyer and if they are holding offers, which I don't think is a good thing right now. Depending, there's the right house and the right location. But this house wasn't the right house to hold offers. Number 2 is pricing your house. Let's look at this. The equator, right? Okay, anything above the equator gets colder. Anything below the equator gets hotter, I guess. So you have to price your house on the equator or just below the equator line. Because let's say the equator line is the market value line. Now, right now, we're trying to find where that line is. So if you price above the equator line, the market line, and then now the market's changing, it's adjusting itself right now. If that drops and then you drop, you're still above it. And that's the thing we try to, what I think realtors have to find is try to get on the line or below the line so that they can sell. Housing, like Conrad, numbers like nobody else does.
Well,
Tell me what's happening.
You're so right. I it's funny because you got to look at even how search is done now. Like again, like are people searching at 999 and expecting it to be $1.3 million? Like they qualify for $1.3 million and they're searching 999 because we taught them that. I will say this, that anything 800 to $1.1 million, let's say in that price range, there's probably about 6,000 listings like that. But if you go up over $1.1 million, you got 1,800 listings. So you're competing with less properties, and that's over the entire board. I'm not just talking about a specific area. So just imagine that when you go over that number, you're dealing with 2/3 less competition, right? So pricing it is a very interesting phenomenon. How consumers search is a big part of it as well. But I think the value conscious consumer is out there in full force right now. And
Well, they're
I think
right.
the
And
value
they're
conscious.
not smarter than the realtors because they're the ones with the money. They're the ones that are looking at other properties and they're looking now that they're being smart and they're looking for good value.
But I think
I
what
mean-
you said at the beginning, Rob, is that a lot of those value conscious consumers, they tend to think that it's going to go lower, lower, lower. So now you're still seeing a lot of people sitting on the fence going, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. So I think and we've seen it in the lower price point too. We've seen a few smaller, like lower end properties that are getting listed in the 599, 600 mark. And I think a lot of the investors have gotten off the table right now too, because they're kind of like, if anybody levered up, over the past year or two, purchased multiple properties, they're waiting to see what the cash flow is going to be like and waiting to see how that absorbs. So I think a lot of those investors are off the table. What would you say, Conrad, for those numbers below the $800,000 mark? Because I'm seeing some of those sit for a little while as well too.
Yeah, they are. In the investor class, which is probably about 25% of the market, are sitting and waiting to see what's going to happen. To just look at the market. But you know what? Though, you got to look at this. What's the cost of borrowing? Look, we saw the HPI home, like actually Terranet just did theirs, and Canadian Real Estate Association did theirs. It was slightly off, like I think 0.6%. The average price was down. So now, if you think about what interest rates, if rates go up 50 basis points, now you're talking that's a 25% increase over what they are today, right? So think about, are we talking like, I don't care if it goes down 20%, the cost of borrowing is growing at a rapid rate.
Right.
The guys that are sitting, the cat that swallowed the canary are the guy, I said it last week, the people that are 3-year and 4-year mortgages that are sitting there. I was with a bunch of Royal Bank people. They said they had to dust off. They went like this about blend and extend because they haven't done that in so long. They have to read what is this and look at this product, because those are the people, those 3 or 4-year mortgages. This is the first time in history that those people can actually suck and blow in a market. They've got great rates and the market's kind of leveling off. We're seeing it shift. Some of those gains in Q1 are disappearing. And they're back to last year's prices. God bless them, because you know what happens. I'll tell you. We talked about it last week. 2018, the new sales to the sales to new listings ratio was at like 50%, and then by December it was par. In 2018, it was equal.
Yeah.
We sold as many new listings came on in December. We sold. So the markets corrects itself. They're very efficient. Real estate market is very efficient.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, with what's happening with interest rates now, we know. I think correct me if I'm wrong, Conrad. We're still up 22% from last year's average sale price. I think, if not, and I know it's adjusted from March to April, 5 to 8%, depending on the region and area that you're from. Like it's come down. Now, I think overall, when the year is over with, I think we'll be 12 to 15% higher than 2021 still, which is still good, which is really good because those are double-digit numbers. I know we're right in the middle of a transition right now. We're right. I think like we're in the heart of it, and once that transition is kind of settled, then it's going to go back on track, because I know the numbers are down in unit number sales, and I checked 2019 from the 1st of May to today, that's 20th of May. In 2019, it was over 500 sales that we had, but we're down to 400 and something sales. So we got to get to that level back again, where that was a normal market. That was pre-COVID, and I truly feel that this market that we're in, this COVID caused us to advance the spike, this adjustment, everything. Like we weren't supposed to have all this happening for at least probably another 2 or 3 years from now. That's what I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you're going to see the rates balance out midsummer as well too. When we see that half rate come up in June, we saw the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, just came out the other day, and that was at 6.8. The month before was at 6.7. So that may mean that we're leveling a little bit as well too. So I think if we get into the midsummer and we see rates get back to where they're supposed, like I talked to a risk guy today with CIBC, and they're probably still, like they were saying, they might even see another 0.5 to 0.6 increase in fixed rates. So it wouldn't be surprising to see those go up another 0.5 point. So whenever you see all this uncertainty, it just cascades into people's expectations, right? Like we just have uncertainty. And then like Conrad said before too, it's cyclical. It goes up, it goes down. Uncertainty creates, unpredictable buyer behavior. But then by midsummer, when the variable rate's up a little bit more and fixed rates are back up to rate norms, then I think people will be really comfortable, like you said, Rob, to have a price point that's increased by the end of the year. Because when people feel like this is the new normal, right now we don't know. Everybody still thinks rates are going to go to 10%, which they're not, right?
No.
When they level off, you'll see, I would say when you see the first dip again, because you'll see those rates go up, they'll crest and then maybe adjust a little bit here and there. When you see that, you'll probably see a lot of the investors jump back into the market, a lot of other people jump back in, and then it'll actually show some more appreciation again.
And then people get
frustrated. Some buyers got frustrated, pull out like they did in 2018. And that's why we started to see those numbers, the sales creep up month after month. And then by December, people that wanted to enter the market that got used to all the mortgage changes, that's why in December we were par. Like we were at, and then I don't have to tell you about, look, 2019 was the beginning of the, okay, let's forget about 2020 for a second, but 2019 was the beginning of the 2021 market. Like that's really where it was.
Yeah.
We were starting to see that in December of 2018, we had just as many sales as we had new listings. So we were already in a crunch already starting 2019 from a deficit situation. So keep an eye on the supply and demand, consumer confidence. Look, RBC said yesterday, be prepared as high as 5. The first number could be a 5 for the next, year or so. Could be. They could, and then things start to, then the economy starts to come back a little bit, right? But yeah, I don't know if you're doing the same thing, Brian.
Guys, let's talk about what really matters right now. What do you guys think of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
Every time I watch it, I want a mega pint of something. That's it. Just a mega pint. That's
just the way he says mega pint.
That's so funny.
Oh, Rob, you're right. I did check. I have to do a correction. You are. It was number 2 in Canada, but I really focus on those international, the world, because I was on a call yesterday with a bunch of brokers all over the world, and they're saying, that place, Hamilton, whatever, number 3 in the world. So it kind of stuck in my head, the number 3 in the world, which is pretty damn impressive when a Canadian realtor is number 3 in the world. So I just want to make sure I got that. But number 2 in Canada,
crazy.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. Well, guys, listen, I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week, and have a happy Victoria weekend, Victoria Day weekend. And we'll talk to you next week, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay, ciao.